Tudor England, known for its many wars and known for its many marriages and for its many executions. And just one more thing: burgers! Alright, there's 3 truths and 1 lie there. Pretty sure you can get the lie. Well, if you said burgers, then you're right. But then let me show you how to make a Tudor burger. Cool, so we're going to start off by making the bread famous in the Tudor period. We're making a Manchet bread, very similar to a brioche. So we are starting off with 15 grams of dry yeast, and we are having a teaspoon of brown sugar in there as well. We're going to add a drop of lukewarm water and we're going to mix. Next we add sifted white stone ground bread flour. There's 500 grams in here. Next we add stone ground wholemeal flour. There's 200 grams in here. Now we add a teaspoon of our ground sea salt. So now we'll add the yeast into the well I have created. What you can do, a little trick, is that with the bowl that the yeast was in, this one here, you can put a little bit of water in, and we'll give it that little mix, and you can grab the remaining yeast that was not taken out and put that into the mix to avoid waste. Feel free to use all the water, and if you feel like you need more water, add more water. Always put a bit of flour in your hands, always helps. You see how it's already starting to look a bit smoother. There is your kneaded dough. Then what we do is we put it back in the bowl. Now we have a damp tea towel here over the top of the bowl, like so, and then we put it back into the warming drawer for it to prove. Cool, it's now out and we're going to start knocking it. And then what you want to do once it's all knocked out, bring it back into a round ball. Alright, so this bit of dough here would normally make around 8 Manchet buns. However, instead for this, I'm going to cut it in half and I'm going to make around 4 Manchet buns, and the other half will be around a loaf for us to share. There we are, so I'm going to put this aside for a loaf, and I'm going to use this half to make around 4 Manchet buns for the burgers. I'm going to roll it into around like a sausage type shape, and this will make it easier to cut it into 4 different sections to make 4 different buns. Cool, I've already got one prepared, so we're making these 4 sections into buns. Cool, so now we've got our buns on a baking tray, which will go back into proof. I've scored 2, and I haven't scored the others, just to be safe. And I'm going to put these back in. What I'm going to do is put a damp towel over these, and they will go back into the warmer. Cool, after 15 minutes our rolls have come out the warmer, so now they're ready to go into the oven. They are going to go in at 230 degrees for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes I'm going to turn it down to 120. I'm going to use tomatoes in my Tudor burger. Tomatoes arrived in Tudor England towards the end of Queen Elizabeth I reign, and she was the last Tudor monarch, so I am able to use it in my burger. They arrived from the Americas, so I'm going to use them. There we are, tomato all sliced. That's going to go into the bowl. There we are, all into the bowl, all looking lovely. There we are, onion peeled, so I'm going to do onion slices for the burger. Will go into the bowl. There we are. So we have sage here. We're going to be using 4 different types of herbs. We've got sage, parsley, thyme and rosemary, because not all herbs were accessible to the Tudor period. So with the sage, it is all homegrown, and I am going to finely dice it to put into the burgers. There's our sage, nice and finely diced. So I'm going to put that into a separate pot. Sage,
a bit of thyme, just a bit of rosemary, and a little bit of parsley.
There we are. Just give them a little mix in there. Should all mix in. Should smell quite nice, very fragrant in this bowl. Smells lovely. Awesome, I've got 300 grams here of venison meat. I'm gonna half it, so each patty is gonna be 150 grams. So I have my 2 venison patties almost ready. I'm going to add the seasoning now. First, I'm going to add a bit of Cornish sea salt. Salt was around in the Tudor period. It was a bit more of a luxury back then. There we are. And so was black pepper. Black pepper was around then, once again, a luxury. These common items nowadays, very rare back then. And then here's my mixture of herbs. I will sprinkle them onto the patties. And I'm going to slowly knead in the herbs and the seasoning. There's the other one all done. So there's our 2 patties, which will be ready to use when we are ready to make the burgers. Awesome. We are now going to cook the burger. So venison's quite a lean meat, so it won't take too long, probably a minute and a half to 2 minutes on one side, and then the same on the other side. So we're going to put the patties on. I will mention I'm using an olive oil. I'm certain the Tudors probably did not, and probably used a lard instead. However, just to keep it relatively simplistic, I will just be using an olive oil, so it's the only thing that's not Tudor, which is annoying, but it is what it is. So I normally let my burgers 30 seconds, and then I will smash them. Right on, it's been 30 seconds, so what I'm going to do is flip the burgers. Cool, with the burger split, what I'll do is I'll break them apart on the top a little bit, makes it easy to smash them. And smash. There we are. Don't be afraid to smash them quite wide. As the meat cooks, they will get smaller. And I will leave that for 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes until the meat kind of caramelizes. So it's been a minute and a half to 2 minutes. So I will flip the burgers, bottom. There we are. Nice, kind of caramelized brown color there. Same with this one. Just flatten out the patties a little bit. And in a minute, I will be adding a cheddar cheese. Cheddar cheese was used in the Tudor period. Typically, cheddar was made in the southwest, and it was left to process or to cheddar in caves in the southwest, and it was particularly favoured by King Henry II, I believe, and he was way before the Tudor period. He was a Plantagenet king, but he loved cheddar cheese, so for example, cheddar cheese has been around way before the Tudor period, so cheddar cheese was very available in the Tudor times. Another fact is that the house after the Tudors, the Stuarts, they loved their cheese. King Charles II was a massive fan of cheese himself, cheddar cheese himself. I was considering using Parmesan cheese, as King Henry VIII was known to love Parmesan. However, weighing it up, cheddar just looks so much better on burgers, so hence I went for cheddar cheese. So, if I were to flip these, these should be looking good now. I've got the cheese in my hand, ready to put on, looking lovely. So it's been 5 minutes, and I would say it is time to put the cheese on. So these are cheddar cheese slices. So what I'm going to do is that I've got these lovely pandy pots, and they make melting the cheese so much easier. I will show you how I utilise them. So I've got a little bit of water here, pour it on, capture it. Same for this burger. There we are. And that should help the cheese melt quicker, make the cheese look better. There we are, look at that. Cheese nicely melted, just to put the burger patties on whilst I prepare the bread. There is one burger patty. Here's the second. I'll bring that closer to the camera so you guys can see. There we are, look at that. That is looking nice. Cool, now we're ready to assemble the burger. I will also show you this. This is the Manchet loaf we made, using the other bit of bread, other bit of dough I should say. There it is, looking nice and lovely. So we have one of the Manchet buns. I am going. There is that burger. That is a mountain of a burger. I reckon worthy of any Tudor king or queen. That is that's something. There we are, guys. There is that burger. Obviously the bun may look a bit different to any normal burger bun, but I think the meat itself and what's inside looks amazing. And that was a Tudor burger, guys. I have it right here. Yeah, wow. That is that's quite a big burger, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try to do more videos like this as well. So if you've got any suggestions of any type of different genre, different country burgers I can do, I will give them my best shot. But that is the Tudor burger, and I hope you enjoyed. See you guys.